serve two, you'll need 250 grams, 9 ounces, of fresh summer berries, between 4 and 6 tablespoons of caster sugar, 120 mils, 4 fluid ounces, that's 8 tablespoons, of freshly squeezed orange juice, plus a little cold water, and 3 thin slices of brioche. And for an optional garnish, some extra fresh berries, beaten egg white, and some caster sugar. To start, prepare and wash all of your berries, and if you're using strawberries, just cut them down a little so that they're more the same size as the other berries. Place them all into a saucepan over a medium-high heat. Sprinkle with the caster sugar and add all of the orange juice. This may look as though there's a lot of juice here, but we need that extra juice later on in the recipe. So add a little bit of extra water just so that the berries are almost covered. Once it's come to the boil, turn the heat off and cook it, stirring just for 1 minute, just so the berries can release some of their juices. And then remove it from the heat and set aside whilst you prepare the ramekins. The next thing you need to do is to line the ramekins with the brioche. I'm using ramekins which are about 3.5 inches, that's 8 centimetres wide, because that's just a perfect size for an individual serving. And I'd like to just take a moment to talk about the brioche. Keep the slices as thin as you can without them being transparent, because otherwise you're going to end up with all brioche and no filling. You need to cut out a disc of the brioche for the base of each ramekin. Now these will be actually turned out when they're finished, so this is going to be the top. And I found just using an ordinary biscuit cutter fits perfectly in the bottom. So let's just cut out 2 discs. And just to show you, that fits in very snugly. Just leave that piece aside, take another piece and cut out another disc the same size for the second ramekin. You'll now need to cut out another disc for the top and use a slightly larger cutter. You may need to jiggle these pieces around a bit. Then with the bits you have left, just cut out rectangles. Don't worry if it breaks, because we're just going to fit all these pieces in. Just make sure that they're deep enough to actually fit up the sides of the ramekins. Once you've got one piece, you can use that as a template for the depth. And we can start now to line the ramekins. Now the fruit mixture will have cooled off a little, and just remove the fruit with a slotted spoon into a bowl. Then take a smaller disc, dip it into the juice so that it's completely covered, and pop it into the bottom of your ramekin, and then start taking the square or rectangle bits And do exactly the same, dip it into the juice on both sides and just place along the sides of the ramekins. I'll just do one. Doesn't matter if it's just poking above the rim just a little, because we're going to press that all down, but make sure that they're as close together as possible so there's no gap between the two pieces. You can slightly overlap them even if you wish. And then all the little bits that you had left you can just tear up just to fill in any bits that are missing. This is all going to be pressed and chilled, so it will actually set up. Fill in any little gaps and press it quite firmly to the sides. And there you have your lined ramekin. Take half the fruit, still using a slotted spoon because you don't want it too wet, and fill the first ramekin. Fill it to the top. Then take the other larger disc, once again dip it into the fruit juices and place it on the top. It's a good idea at this point to put the ramekin on a plate because you're going to start squidging it down and juice is bound to come out. Press it down, and then if you get a piece of cling film, and then you can press even harder. The juices will flow out over the ramekins sides. Press it firmly and then keep the cling film on and wrap it around the sides. And there you have a summer pudding ready to be refrigerated. Transfer them to a clean plate, and then you need to weight them. Something like a tin of beans, a small tin. Just pop one on each, press it down, and then place in the refrigerator for at least 1 hour, but preferably 2 so that they can chill through. But an extra special touch is to serve them garnished with frosted berries. Whisk up some egg whites until it's frothy, and then get a pastry brush and just lightly brush the berries with the egg white so that most of the berry is coated, and then sprinkle on some caster sugar. Give it a good coating, and then pop these into the fridge or somewhere cool just to dry off. Once the puddings have well chilled, remove the weight and the cling film, invert onto a serving plate and garnish with the frosted berries. And there you have a scrumptious, very special brioche summer pudding.